This is a kind of unusual lens. The zoom is not standard focal range. This is a Lumix 24 to 60mm f2.8. Yes, the 10mm shorter than usual at the zoom range, but it is actually significantly lighter and smaller than your usual 24 to 70 standard zoom lens. Question is this a perfect everyday lens for everything? Is this a perfect zoom, standard zoom for Lumix cameras? Let's start from the performance. Performance this lens delivers is simply outstanding. As expected, is not a surprise from S standard Lumix lens. This is not S Pro, this is standard S, matching the quality of the S primes. Not disappointing in any way. Pretty much punchy, sharp, good contrast and color. Wide open at 24mm. It is ever so slightly soft around the ears, but the question is, does it really matter in a real world situations? If you shoot landscape or architecture, when the sharpness is important around the edges, you simply close down the aperture down to f4 or f8 and the problem doesn't exist. When you shoot wide open, you do want that blurred background, the subject to background separation, and then that softness around the edges doesn't matter at all. Slightly shorter than standard zoom range, but it is still a very versatile lens for all kind of photography or videography. I have been using it for a while for travel, for street photography, for paid commercial work, and it's very hard for me to find anything wrong with it. I come from using primes for most of my career, so for me, the shorter than standard zoom is not a problem at all. If I'm missing the reach, I just get close. I know not always possible, but in this case, the shorter zoom range is not a problem for me at all here. Minimum focusing distance is only 19 centimeters. Not macro by any means, but you can get really good looking close-up shots with it. Overall, this lens delivers outstanding results and image quality that is very hard to pick on or complain about. Talking about the video, this lens is superb for filming with. The autofocus has got no problems. I have been testing it, I've been using it for a while on S5 II, S5 IIX, S1RII, also S1R2, and I had no issues with autofocusing with this lens at all. In comparison to 24-70 standard lenses, the size of it and the weight makes it ideal lens for run and gun situations when you have to carry the camera, the lens with you for longer periods of time. Very nice. There's no built-in stabilization, optical stabilization in the lens, but combining it with all the current S line of the cameras and superb sensor stabilization, IBIS, there's no problem. This lens is really usable handheld to get really smooth shots using only the built-in in-camera built-in stabilization. But the hidden weapon here is the hybrid zoom of all the current S line of full-frame Lumix cameras. This is an option you can switch on to basically expand the zoom range. It's not by cropping and reducing the quality, but using the higher resolution of the sensor than the 4K video. So the hybrid zoom is the extension of the zoom from 2460 to 2493, which gives you absolutely smooth transition from the normal zoom to hybrid. You can see where the normal zoom finishes and the hybrid starts, and you got no loss of quality. Because the size and the weight replaces the 24-70mm standard lens and gives you actually larger zoom range than standard 24-70. This is a signature Lumix S-line lens. That tough plastic and really nicely made. It feels like a quality lens when you hold it in your hand. Comparing it to Sigma Art 24-70 Mark II or Lumix's own S Pro line 24-70, this lens is significantly lighter than Lumix and the Sigma. It weighs only 554 grams. Very simple, very nicely smooth focus ring, very nicely dampened zoom ring. The zooming in extends the lens out so it becomes a bit longer when you're zooming in. Very standard autofocus manual focus switch, and the function button that can be programmed by the camera to do different things, whatever you need on the lens. Also worth to mention that the focus ring can be reprogrammed with the current Lumix cameras to focus opposite direction than default. Also, it can be customized to functions, custom functions like, for example, ISO changes or aperture changes. Whoa! The camera is overheating. It is fully weather sealed, around the mount and internally, and the filter thread is 77mm. Not the standard Lumix S line 67, but slightly bigger 77, but smaller than 82mm, which requires more expensive filters. So the price and value for money, this is not dirt cheap lens, but for what you're getting here, it's a very good price for the optical and build quality lens like this. It costs roughly about £900 here in UK or $900 in US. You do get a lot of lens for the money. If you compare it to Lumix big brother, the S Pro 24-70 f2.8 lens, this is the half price. Also, it is half weight and half size. I've never been a fan of that lens because it's so big and so heavy. The problem this lens has got is the competition from Sigma. The 24-70mm DGDN, f2.8 DGDN Art Mark II is only marginally more expensive than this. But a lot of people do prefer Lumix lens on the Lumix camera. It's psychological, and theoretically speaking, this lens should perform overall better on the Lumix camera. But Sigma is a very good lens. It optically is superb. This is not far off, if different at all. I'll be comparing Sigma and this lens side by side very soon. But the Sigma has got the extra 10mm if you really need it, but it is heavier, and it is bigger, and it is marginally more expensive. The other competition it has is from Sigma as well, which is a 28-70mm f2.8. For me personally, the wide end is more important than the zoom. I don't think it's the same lens, not comparable side by side for sure. Overall, I think this is a great value for money. It is cheaper, even though it's not much from Sigma, way cheaper than Lumix, and it hasn't got really other competition than that, not from Lumix for sure, and it performs superbly, so yeah, good value for money. Conclusion, this is a superb tool for photography or video. Since I got this with S1RII when it came out, I am definitely a prime shooter. I prefer to shoot with primes for most of my career, but this somehow, the convenience of this lens and its size, it's swaying me more toward it, and I've been shooting with it more than I thought I would. It's not dirt cheap, but it is more affordable than anything else with this focal range and in this class for the Lumix cameras. What makes it very attractive is its size and its weight, as well as the optical quality. You do also get the standard high quality Lumix build. Right now, this is my favorite lens for any Lumix camera, full frame Lumix camera right now. And when I go out to shoot even paid jobs recently, the commercial work, this is the first lens I pack, and then I think what else I need. But very often on the shoots, I just stuck with this, and it's good enough for everything from wide angle is wide enough to close-ups, interviews, and everything else in between. I highly recommend this lens. If you do need standard zoom, which if you don't want to change lenses a lot and just want to shoot general stuff when you travel, commercially, portrait, product, whatever standard everyday usage, this lens can do it. I highly recommend it. And yeah, this is it from me. Thank you for watching. You know the drill, the like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.